Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live each and every day here on KDSJ 479. And we continue on with our SEC Caravan today. As in the second segment of today's show, we'll have David Waters of Gators Breakdown. He's going to come on and give us what's going on down in the swamp of Dan Mullen in year two on his Gators, as they're going to be taking on the Miami Hurricanes this Saturday as they kick off collegiate football. And then at the 1:30 hour, we're going to have Kevin McGuffey of the Big Blue Nation. We'll find out how the Cats and Coach Stoops are faring in fall camp. All that is ahead of us, but I want to come in with my producer and co-host, Demetrius Johnson. We call him Demigod. What's going on, my man?
Just chilling.
Hump Day Wednesday, huh?
Yeah, relax it. Kicking back.
Arkansas having a major scrimmage today, the last one of fall camp. A lot should be determined, Demetrius, coming out of this scrimmage number 3. In particular, who's going to be the starting quarterback? We have audio from both Chad Morris, Nick Starkel, and Ben Hicks that we'll be getting into here shortly as we continue on with our caravan. But Demetrius, who do you think will emerge as the starting quarterback? It's been the million-dollar question almost since the conclusion of last year, and you knew Cole Kelly and Ty Story were going to be moving on. But in your humble opinion, who's it going to be a week from Saturday?
You know, I've been talking about Nick Starkel all summer long. You know, I felt like he brought a different edge and a different swagger, and I just feel like he's built to play in the SEC. When you look at him coming over from Texas A&M, and he's proven he can put the ball in the end zone. Yeah, he did end up getting hurt and kind of falling off, but I seen enough from this kid to say he can be a quarterback in the SEC. It's just him understanding and fitting in with the offense and really getting a true grasp of it. And that's why I say I think Ben Hicks is going to get that initial start off. I think he's earned that. Coach Morris is really all about respect. He really gives guys, when they put in the work, he's going to give them their just due. So I think, again, he's gonna trot Ben Hicks out there for the first couple of throws and whatnot and go through those motions. But I still think at the end of the day, Nick Starkel is a guy he has experience and he's proven.
All right. Well, momentarily we'll be pulling up audio from head coach Chad Morris following fall camp number 16. As he had media availability with us, and then also following that up throughout the show, we're going to have Nick Starkel and Ben Hicks audio. But we're going to step away real quick. I have another thing that I'm going to be looking forward to today in the final scrimmage. I think they're supposed to maybe kind of give us access to that. We'll find out here in about an hour or so. But we're going to step away, and I believe we're going to step away as my producer is getting audio from head coach Chad Morris following yesterday's fall camp. Here we go, and when we come back, real quick, I want to give a shout-out to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, also to an office location in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and our newest sponsor, KDK's Chicken. If you want good food, go to KDK's. They got you the best waffles, and really, it's not your mama's, as they say. But here's Chad, and we'll be back with David Waters of Gators Breakdown. Time to get on the caravan. I got my bus ready, and I hope yours is full up too. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit. Let's get it.
All right, another good day of practice today. Good hot day. Looking forward to tomorrow's scrimmage. So with that, I'll open up for questions.
What are you looking for out of the scrimmage, and then maybe the quarterbacks in particular?
Yeah, well, I'm not naming one.
No, but
But I'm going to tell you this: that I'm looking for consistency again. Second, I'm looking for guys that are going to be making plays, both on and on the line of scrimmage, out in space, the back end. There'll be some guys that'll be limited tomorrow, and there'll be guys that'll be doing a lot of movement tomorrow. I mean, there'll be a lot of roster movement happening after tomorrow's scrimmage.
Yeah, I was going to say, how close do you feel like you're setting your depth chart?
I think we're close. I really do. I mean, I felt that way coming out of our second scrimmage. As we mentioned with our staff, we wanted to have a general idea of the guys that we felt like we're going to have to really count on going into week one and start repping those guys. And that's what we've done this week. Not necessarily setting that depth chart, but we're pretty close in a lot of our areas right now.
Coach, have you guys jumped into any performance made or maybe even preparing for other performance also?
Yeah, you always build that into camp. We built it into some of spring ball. We obviously built it in camp. That's what this week is for, especially the early part of this week. We call game prep. So there was several periods out there today that we really focused in on game preparation for our opponents.
Chad, what did you see out of starting offense today, and what quarterbacks took reps with the ones today?
Nick took all the ones today, and I thought there was some good things. We did some situations right here at the end. We had the ball on the plus 39, and thought there was some good things that happened out of that. From an offensive standpoint, our field goal, we kicked several field goals in some critical situations. I thought was good. We were 100% on those. So I did. I thought there was some good things. You know, you're at this point in time at camp, and the newness is worn off, and these guys are giving great effort. They're working their tail off, and we're proud of them. We're ready to get into a game week, but tomorrow's going to be a big day for us.
How's things shaping up at right guard and house playing?
Yeah, Shane's doing good, being pushed. We've tried Myron over there at right guard when Colton is healthy at left tackle, which Colton was back again from the second day. So we anticipate Colton being back, Myron going over getting a lot of right guard work. And when Colton's out, Myron moved back. Ricky Stromberg has gotten a lot of right guard work. We've also moved Ricky some to center and tie to guard, just to kind of create some depth right there and find that rotation. Ricky, again, as I mentioned on Saturday.
Welcome back. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479. And we started yesterday. Actually, we started on Monday, our SEC Fall Camp Caravan. And the bus left Hale State and headed down further south where we got to the swamp and catch up with our good buddy, David Waters of Gators Breakdown. David, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get off into it. Fall camp in the swamp, year 2 under Dan Mullen. Talk about some of the things that stick out to you heading into game week as you guys will be taking on the Miami Hurricanes on Saturday.
Yeah, of course. It starts with Felipe Franks. Can he continue where he left off last year and throughout fall camp? We didn't get to see much of it. A lot of the practices were closed after the first couple were open. And the first couple were open, we didn't get to see a whole lot. Just kind of throwing out targets and stuff. So, but from all accounts, he looks to improve his downfield passing a little bit, and it's just all about consistency with Felipe Franks. If he can get rid of the Georgia, Missouri type of performances that he had last year,
right,
and go on that streak that he ended the season last year on, especially against FSU and Michigan, then you have to feel pretty good about where your quarterback is. But of course, it all goes back to this offensive line with Florida replacing 4 starters. Has some experience there, and Nick Buchanan at center, and Brett Heggie at left guard, who, all intents and purposes, really is a starter. He just missed some time last year because of injuries,
right?
Nagging injuries. So if Florida's got some experience there, if injuries happen along the offensive line, you got to start counting on some redshirt freshmen and true freshmen, and that's not ideal in the SEC. But to help Felipe Franks and that offensive line out, you got a plethora of weapons at wide receiver led by Van Jefferson and Trevon Grimes, and the running game led by LaMichael Pirine, who I think is poised for a big season.
Talking about the quarterback and Felipe, how have you seen Felipe, during the maturation process from his freshman heading into what now I believe will be his junior season?
Yeah, you got to go back and I really think take a look at that Missouri game, and it was probably the worst game of his career last year. He gets benched. Kyle Trask comes in, and it wasn't going to lead a comeback or anything, but Frank got benched, and there was going to be a quarterback controversy before Kyle Trask gets injured going into the South Carolina game the next week. And whatever it was, whatever happened, whatever the light bulb was that turned on for Felipe Franks, it turned on. Look, I know the competition wasn't the best against South Carolina, Florida State, and Michigan missing just a couple of defenders, but it was still a welcome sight to see that because Franks hadn't shown that before.
Right.
No matter who the opponent was, Felipe Franks didn't show against anybody what he showed those last 4 games of the season. So whatever happened with he had to shush the crowd a little bit during that South Carolina game, and Mullen had to kind of spread to him. Like, look, I'm the coach. You listen to me. Don't worry about any of that outside noise. If they could coach you, they'd be coaching you and not me. So, whatever it was, he became a willing runner. Once he started running the ball, it helped a lot too and opened up opposing defenses. And Felipe Franks really took advantage. So you fast forward to now and a couple weeks ago and talking with him, and it's getting calls from his wide receivers at 11:30 at night, midnight, and those guys want to go work out and work on routes and throwing on. You're just getting a rapport with their quarterback, and the receivers, can contact him anytime they want to, and they can, go and get their thing done. So, it's just taking that next step and being that leader that the team really needs to be.
Looking at the running back, we understand LaMichael P. Ryan is the go-to guy. But outside of LaMichael, who are going to be some of the guys on Saturday when SEC fans and Gator fans tune in to watch the Gators and the Hurricanes? Who will be some of those running backs that'll get some of those racks? And what I mean by that is carries on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, two guys really stand out in Damian Pierce and Malik Davis. Malik Davis coming back from injury the last 2 years. 2017 probably proved to be you had the credit card 9 scandal, and Georgia Scarlett gets dismissed. So you had Malik Davis and LaMichael P. Ryan leading the way. And that year, in 2017, Malik Davis was better than LaMichael P. Ryan. It looked to be poised for a big season, and gets injured versus Georgia and has to miss the rest of the year. He comes back last year, maybe a little bit too soon, gets injured early on in the season and misses the rest of the season.
Right.
So Malik Davis, he's got to prove he can stay healthy. He is the best home run threat Florida has at the running back position. Depth chart comes out on Monday, and he's the second running back listed. I still think it's pretty much an either-or situation behind Michael P. Ryan with Malik Davis and Damian Pierce, who was a true freshman last year. Really showed some things early on in the season. Kind of got the nickname the closer because he would come in when defenses were tired and beat up and go bust a 40, 50-yard run and put the game away even more. So we're looking for he's slimmed down a little bit this year, and looks to be I think what you're gonna see is a Michael P. Ryan leading the way, and then Damian Pierce and Malik Davis behind him, kind of split carries amongst each other.
On to the other side of football, a side that I think has a chance to be very, very good, and that's on the defensive side. Jabari Zuniga is a young man that we all know and expect to have a great year. But on that, out of that front line, who are some other guys on Saturday that, in your opinion, will show a lot of flashes?
Yeah, I think we have to go and go with the transfer, Jonathan Grenard, transfer from Louisville. Be his first game for the Gators, and Jakai Polite moves on to the NFL. And him and Jabari Zuniga were quite the pair last year, and I think Florida's going to look for Grenard to kind of step in. And I don't necessarily think he's the same mold as Jakai Polite. He's not as fast off the edge, but he may can set the edge a little bit better with his size, and he can. He got praised for his time at Louisville, and he played in the opener against Alabama last year, broke his hand, and had to miss the rest of the season, but then transfers to Florida, where he was recruited by Todd Grantham. He knows the system, he knows what Todd Grantham expects, and he's a guy I'm looking for. And Jeremiah Moon as well, who I think can kind of play to that really fast off the edge guy like Jakai Polite last year. You look at Jeremiah Moon, he missed spring. This past spring with a foot injury, but if you look at this, he looks like a statue. He looks like what you want an outside buck rush in guy to look like. So up front, besides Jabari Zuniga and what I like that he brings to the table, Jonathan Grenard, Jeremiah Moon are two guys at that rush in defensive end position that I'm looking for.
Talking with David Waters of Gators Breakdown, covers all Gators information for us here on the Hill each and every week. Now on to Miami. When you look at this Miami team under new offensive coordinator Dan Enos, new head coach Manny Diaz, what are some of the things that Coach Mullen and the defensive staff will have to do versus the Miami offense on Saturday?
Versus the Miami offense, I think they're going to be pretty conservative with Jaron Williams being named the starter and Dan Enos. I think maybe being and you can kind of speak to this, Pat. I don't know, was he more conservative because of Brett Bielema, or is that his style as well?
Right.
And so I think that's kind of what we're looking for. I know he used the tight ends a lot his time in Arkansas, and I'm wondering if that bleeds over a little bit to Miami, because Miami has a pretty good duo of tight ends, Will Mallory and Brevin Jordan. And we go back and look how much Enos used those tight ends at Arkansas. And with this conservative game approach that I think Miami's going to bring with a redshirt freshman quarterback making his first start, I expect, kind of a run-heavy approach and using those tight ends much like he did at Arkansas. So I think what Todd Grantham and Dan Mullen can do is go back and look at, since they have this young quarterback, go back and look at a lot of the Arkansas tape and see how they want to run the ball, see how his tendencies and when they use the tight ends and how they use the tight ends. Because they got some pretty good tight ends down in Coral Gables, and with that, I'm going to see how Amari Burney is going to be, his probably first full game at linebacker playing in that position, replacing for Sean Joseph from last year, and see how he holds up against the run. See how he holds up when he has to go cover tight ends after getting pounded on and pounded on and pounded on. So I think that's kind of a matchup there I'm looking for, because I think this Florida front seven, with this Miami offensive line starting a true freshman at left tackle and a redshirt freshman at right tackle, I think Florida, if they can hold this run game under control, it should be, they probably could keep the whole offense in control after that.
Talking about on the flip side, what must Florida do offensively versus the Miami defense to ensure some success on Saturday?
Miami's got a pretty good stout front, too, on defense, and you're led by their linebacker, Shaq Quarterman and Michael Peetney, some fast, aggressive linebackers there, and as I mentioned, the question that Florida has on offensive line, I think it's really a question of how fast can this offensive line adjust. And Mullen wants to run the ball. He's a run-first guy, but I think maybe in this game, what you might see from Florida, just because of the questions Miami has on offense, is maybe Florida does get a little aggressive early and maybe tries to put some points up on the board to make Miami play from behind. So. Right. To me, that's instrumental in this offensive line protecting Felipe Franks, so he has time to take those shots down the field.
And last question before I let you go, got about a minute and a half, and want to let everybody know that I've just tuned in to our broadcast here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. We're talking with Gators Breakdown Zone, David Waters. If there's two players, one offensive and one defensive player, that you think will be the players to watch on Saturday, who would those two players be?
Offense, I'm going to Michael Piron. As much as I like Felipe Franks and the steps I think he's taken, I still think this offense is going to be built on what Michael Piron can do. The ability he showed late last year in busting big runs against Florida State and Michigan, and in bowl prep becoming a receiver as well for this Florida offense. I think he's just a weapon that I'm not sure Miami can keep up with as the game goes on. And from what I expect, this Florida offense just to kind of start wearing down this Miami defense. And for the other side of the ball, I'm looking for probably the return of Marco Wilson. See how much he's matched up against Miami's number one receiver, Jeff Thomas. He's bouncing back from injury. I got high praise for Marco Wilson for what he's able to do. It's his first game back after tearing his ACL last year. So he's one guy I'm looking forward to making a difference, because Miami may try and target him because of him coming off the injury.
Good point.
He's going to have to prove himself. And I think if Miami wants to test him, I said, by all means, try it.
Yeah, as always, my man, love the insight. We'll catch up next week to recap the Florida game and look ahead to UT Martin. But as always, my bud, thanks for taking time out here on the Hill.
Thanks, Pat.
That was David Waters of the Gators Breakdown giving us the 4-1-1. Their insight and game keys to the big matchup that they have in Orlando, Florida this weekend. Battle of Florida. It's kind of a Florida State Championship round one for the Gators versus the Miami Hurricanes. They'll be taking on Saturday. But we're going to step away. Got some audio from senior quarterback Ben Hicks. He was made available to us following fall camp day 16. And here's what he had to say. And then following that, we'll be down. We're getting ready to load up and head to Lexington, the Bluegrass State, where we get up with the Big Blue Nation's Kevin McGuffey and talk a little Wildcats. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit. Let's get it.
Last spring, the spring ended, you had real demands of the team. Do you still feel that way with the competition?
Oh yeah. I think we're all pushing each other from that standpoint too. I think we're making each other better as leaders. I think we're all helping each other from that standpoint. Like I said, we're doing split field, so you're not getting to talk to everybody every single day like you were if we weren't doing split field. So everybody's takes command and has had a leadership role, so it's been good.
Where do you feel like the competition is? I mean, do you feel like it's pretty tight? And
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we've all done good things. I think, that's up to Coach Morris and Coach Craddock. I mean, I feel like I've done my job. That's what I'm trying to do. Every day at camp is just come out and do my job, take it one day at a time, and, see what happens when they make the decision.
Do you think it's better as a competitor for you to have that competition, or would it be better if you were the standalone number one guy?
Yeah, I think anytime you got competition, it makes you better, pushes you. So it's been good having everybody in that room pushing me every single day. I think it's been good for them having each other. I mean, we're all in there pushing each other every single day. So it's been, I think it's been good for everybody. It's been healthy for everybody. So I think we've all gotten better in the fall. So.
I think us in the media and fans make a big deal out of it. How do you guys approach it in that room when you guys meet every day and go out on the practice field?
Yeah, like I was telling him, I think, just trying to take it one day at a time, one play at a time, just, understand that's a process. There's going to be ups and downs, there's going to be adversity throughout camp, but, you just try and take it one day at a time and try and put the team, the offense in the best position to win a game. So.
how big is the scrimmage tomorrow in your mind?
I think it's as big as any of them. I think, taking it one day at a time, just getting ready to practice and get the guys in the end zone. That's the main thing. I think that's what we're looking for is a guy that's going to get us in the end zone and help us win the game. So, again, that's what I'm trying to do tomorrow.
How do you feel like your camp's been overall?
Yeah, I think it's been good. I mean, it's been a grind, but it's been a lot of fun. And I think, again, we've gotten a lot of reps. So, anytime you get a lot of reps, you can take a lot away from that and, have a lot of film to break down. And, it's been fun. So.
Have they communicated with you guys at all about when they plan to name the starter, or has it just been like every day, like, I wonder if he's going to name him?
Yeah, no, I think, again, they're trying to just go out and practice every single day, and then knowing the decision's made, we'll live with it and go on and try and make the best of the situation.
You're expecting the game for both of you guys to play?
Again, I don't know. I'm just taking it one day at a time. When they make the decision, it'll be the decision that they make.
Welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, and it's our Wednesday Caravan edition of OTH. We come to you live here on KDSJ 479. And real quick, before we continue on, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville and office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and our newest sponsor, KDK's Chicken. It's the best in the business. Want the best chicken in the South? Try KDK's. I'm sure you will not be, and as they say, it's not your mama's. But we're going to catch up. We're going to head up to the Big Blue Nation and Lexington, Kentucky to catch up with our good buddy, Kevin McGuffey. Talk a little Wildcats. Kevin, welcome to OTH, my man.
Hey, thank you, Pat. Thanks for having me. It's great to be on again, and after listening to that, I'm hungry for some chicken.
Kevin, I want to get off into it. Fall camp, how has it been going for Coach Stoops? I know Coach lost quite a bit. Benny Snell moves on to the NFL. Josh Allen has moved on. Let's talk a little bit about offense. What have been some of the things that's kind of stuck out to you? 2.5, 3 weeks in the fall camp.
One of the biggest things that you keep hearing day in and day out is just how much better Terry Wilson looks compared to a season ago. He came in, never played in college football, down in major college football, and led the Cats to, a 10-win season. Right. Obviously, Benny Snell, Josh Allen had a lot to do with that, but, the coaching staff has been expecting a whole lot of improvement out of him from last season to this, and so far he's really, for all accounts, he's really, really looking good. And along with Wilson, the Kentucky went out, got to Sawyer Smith, who was a quarterback, was at Troy, and he's going to be the backup now because Gunnar Hope left and was competing for the starting job there at Ohio State. So, but the biggest story has just been how well Terry Wilson has looked this year so far, and it's just his continued improvement.
The question I have is, who will fill those big shoes left by SEC sensation Benny Snell moves on to the NFL? Who are some of the guys, Kevin, that Coach Stoops and that offensive staff are looking at, kind of feel, because I'm of the belief it's going to take more than one, but who are some of the guys that will be asked to fill such big shoes?
They really got they've got three guys that are going to probably all see a lot of snaps. AJ Rose, who was the the backup to Benny last year, he's probably going to be that that guy. 2 weeks from Saturday when they come out there against Toledo, he's going to be the guy. He ran for 500 yards, in limited time last season. Had a 100-yard game against Louisville in the regular season finale. He's going to be, your number one guy. But behind him, they have two more guys, and honestly, even three. Rodriguez, and Cavassier Smoke from down in Alabama. Both of those guys have been really impressive in the spring, and the coaching staff thinks, any of those, Rose is going to be the guy starting off, but they think, the other guys can come in and spell AJ, and then a fourth guy is a true freshman, Travis Tisdale from out of Georgia. He's the guy the coaching staff is really, really high on, and you can play in up to 4 games, and I would expect to see him play in those games. But they're looking at those three guys. Basically, it's going to be Rose, and then you're going to have Rodriguez and Smoke kind of complimenting as they try to replace Benny Snell.
Looking at the wide receiver core, Lynn Bowden Jr. Jumps completely off the page. Had a chance to get a chance to meet him and hear some of his thoughts at SEC Media Day. But outside of Bowden, who are going to be some of the big time receivers that Terry Wilson will be counting on in 2019?
Well, one of the biggest guys, one of the biggest names is Isaiah Epps, who that's the big thing right now. He's going to be that second receiver behind Bowden. Is Isaiah Epps is the guy they were looking at. He suffered an injury in fall practice about a week and a half ago. He's going to be out for at least part of the season. But a guy like Josh Ali is a guy that you're probably going to hear a lot. And then there's a couple. Ahmad Wagner is another guy. He didn't catch a pass last season. He's a former, but he got like 3 or 4 pass interference calls. If you go back and you watch go back to the Missouri game last year when Kentucky was trailing and got that drive to win on the last play, but Wagner, he's like 6'7", like he's a former basketball player. He was, a guy basically they just throw the ball up to him, and last season he either, most of the time he didn't catch it, but they had like 3 or 4 pass interference calls.
Right.
But then there's a couple of guys. Tate Crooms is another guy. He's a true freshman who's really turning a lot of heads right now. They got several, Coach Smith's got several guys, that he's looking at right now, and one of them is going to be, looking for that guy to be the complement to DeLynn Bowden, and then also throw in a tight end Justin Rigg,
right?
Who now you don't know if it's coach speak or what, but he said that Vince Marrow about a week ago said he was better right now. He was better than TJ Conrad, which is pretty high praise. Since Conrad is by everything I've heard, doing some really good things with the New York Giants right now. But those are some of the names that you're going to hear, and there's always, as you well know, there's always somebody that comes up out of nowhere and then just becomes a surprise, and it could be one of those. It could be one of those freshmen. They've got many weapons. Many guys they can try to use. It's just going to be a matter of figuring out who's going to be that complement.
Talking with Kevin McGuffey of the Big Blue Nation, covers all Wildcat football and all Wildcat sports information for us here on OTH. Kevin, I want to talk about the defensive side of football. You lose Josh Allen, I thought was probably pretty much the best defensive player outside of Quinnen Williams there at Alabama in the SEC, and Devin White at LSU. I would have to say those three were the top 3. You have a big-time playmaker and senior linebacker, Cash Daniel, but what will this defense be like? And who will be some of the players that we need to keep an eye on that side of the ball? Because, like I said, you lost quite a bit on that side.
Right. Yeah. The defense, as you say, Cash Daniel is going to be the guy that's probably going to get most of the publicity. I tell you what, up front is honestly where Kentucky is going to be the strongest. They're going to have possibly 6 or 7 guys that they're going to run in and out. You've got Phil Hoskins, the guy who's gotten a little bit of NFL draft buzz already. You've got Quentin Bohanna, you've got Calvin Taylor, and T.J. Carter, and then you also throw in Josh Paschal, who kind of played that hybrid the kind of hybrid position that Josh Allen played. He was, Pascal was, unfortunately had the cancer diagnosis last year. He had that malignant melanoma in his foot and missed most of the season. But he's healthy and he's getting back in the swing of things. But Derek LeBlanc, the defensive line coach, he's got to be really, really happy because they've got seven or eight guys that they think they can run in and out at various times and keep everybody fresh and healthy, which of course is what you need playing in the SEC. But as far as Josh Allen goes, Jamar Boogie Watson, he's probably going to be the guy who's going to get started in that role, trying to replace Allen. You've got Jordan Wright, and then you've got a couple of other Jared Casey, who's a true freshman out of Louisville, really highly talented player. I would not be surprised to see him play next year.
Right.
Excuse me, this year. But honestly, the biggest question mark as far as Kentucky goes right now is the secondary, because the whole secondary is basically being rebuilt. From last year. Lonnie Johnson is drafted by the Texans. Mike Edwards is drafted by the Bucks. You had Chris Westry and Jared Beatty. All of those guys are all gone from last year, and then the top returning player, Devontae Robinson, at safety suffered an injury, and he's lost for the season. This is the third year in a row the Cats have lost somebody, in the preseason. So that's going to be the biggest key. A couple of those names, Jordan Griffin at safety and Yusuf Corker, and then another guy to watch. I'm throwing a lot of freshmen out here, but I really think, Kentucky's coach, recruiting has gone, significantly up almost every year.
Right, great point.
This year's recruiting class is, on par to be, the best one of the best ones, if not the best one ever. Moses Douglas, he's the son of Maurice Douglas, who played for the Cats back in the 80s.
Yes.
He's a guy that's going to get a lot of looks at safety. He's been really impressive from what everybody has said. And then, like I said, in the cornerback positions, like I said, you got Brandon Eccles, Cedric Dort. I'm just kind of rattling off some names here, but Stanley Garner is another guy who was a highly touted player a couple years ago.
Right.
These guys were all behind, Edwards and Johnson and those guys, and now it's their turn. It's waiting. See if they're going to step up. But like I said, the biggest question mark for the whole team, I think, right now is the secondary, and I think we'll find out pretty quick because they opened with the Toledo team, who's pretty scored more than 50 points.
Good point.
I think 6 times last year. So we're going to find out pretty quick.
Talking with Kevin McGuffey of the Big Blue Nation. Real quick, we got about a minute and a half. Kevin, I want you to give me an offensive player that you think is to be the man to watch, and a defensive player to watch for the season 2019. Who might those two players be?
I tell you, obviously Lynn Bowden. I think if you're going to have me, who's the offensive MVP, I think it could be Bowden.
Right.
You could also throw in Terry Wilson or AJ Rose. On the other side of the ball, I think Cash Daniel. But then you also have all those guys up front, whether it's Carter, Bohanna, Hoskins, or Taylor. They lost a lot last year, but they've got a lot of guys returning, and so I kind of hedged on the defense. But I'll say Cash Daniel. But we'll go with Cash. We'll go with Kentucky guy. He's the guy that's getting all the publicity. You've seen him, I'm sure, on he was down there at media days, and I have to say, I think I'd mentioned you guys just the coverage you all were doing at media days was great. I was just sitting there watching it.
Thank you.
All the interviews and all the stuff you guys are doing was really, really good. But I'll go Bowden on offense and Cash Daniel on defense.
All right. Well, hey, we'll be back as we'll start, talking game keys next week with you, as you guys will be taking on Toledo. But as always, Kevin, thanks for taking time out here on the Hill.
Well, thanks for having me, Pat. It's always great to talk to you, and thanks very much. Have a great day.
All right. That was Kevin McGuffey of the Big Blue Nation giving us the Cats update as to what's happening in fall camp. And we're going to step away, get a real quick break, but we caught up with senior quarterback Nick Starkel. And here's what Nick had to say. And following that up, Demetrius and I will be back to close this thing out. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
since camp's starting, so it was a good day today.
He hasn't budged on naming a starter. Is tomorrow super huge for this?
Yeah, I think every scrimmage is big, especially for the quarterback position, and just us being able to feel what it's like to be in a game almost with them. Last scrimmage was a little different, a lot of first downs, and didn't really get a feel for how the offense could work when you get a drive going. But I think tomorrow's going to be really good. Sense of how we can get our tempo going and everything.
I think us in the media and fans are making a big deal out of who's going to start. How do you guys handle it in that room?
It's not really even talked about in the room. We've been rotating, same rotation since day one, and we know, coach is evaluating everything we do. So we've just been on our toes and just, been attacking everything.
You guys both expect to play in the opener?
I don't really know. We'll see how that goes. It's on the coaches. It's their decision.
Was today the first day you got all reps with one?
No, it wasn't. We've been splitting. Every day has been different. He'll go with him Monday, I'll go Tuesday, he's Wednesday, on Thursday. It's just every day we've been switching the whole camp.
The chance that you had moved the ball sequences, how do you feel like you performed in those?
I feel like I've done pretty well in those. I feel like those done actually very well. That's where I think I thrive the most, is being able to keep the offense going, up tempo, keep the drive going, really.
The receiving corps is a little bit dinged up right now. Does it feel a little bit different the last couple of days?
We're still doing split fields, and so you can definitely sense the guys are a little more tired, obviously not having as many pure numbers out there. But we have guys stepping up, making plays left and right. From TQ to Traylon Burks to Trey Knox, Mike Woods, Devion, all those guys, they're really stepping up, and it's great to see them. The older guys bring those younger guys up and say, hey, look, it's your time now. So that's really encouraging.
Nick, is there any specific area that you really focused on in camp that you felt like you needed to brush up in order to compete in the starting?
Definitely my timing. I felt like I needed to work on my timing and my footwork, mainly my foot placement, being able to, go from handing the ball off to, if I pull it, being able to pull up and have my feet set all ready to throw. That's been the biggest thing for me, is really just footwork and knowing where to put my feet, how to not get stepped on by a running back, when they're taking their tracks and stuff like that. And I think that I've done a good job progressing in that so far through camp.
Coach Moore said that you've caught up with the playbook pretty much. What do you feel like you guys are excelling at right now? The running game or the passing game more?
I'm a quarterback, so I'm going to say we're better at passing. But obviously we have 4 or 5 really good running backs that can make some plays for us. And so I think that we're going to be a pretty balanced team. We're going to definitely have those threats that we can throw the ball down the field with, and we'll be able to run the ball as well.
Have y'all applied any Portland State scouting into practice yet?
We have done a little bit of Portland State. A lot of the end of the fall camp is really where we get into game prep. So we've been prepping for both Portland State and Ole Miss as well. It's usually what teams do.
Yeah. What do they do? What do they run?
Portland State?
Yeah.
They run a whole bunch of stuff, a lot of untraditional stuff, bear fronts. You guys probably don't know what that means. But, yeah, they run a bear front, a lot of man coverage, so we're looking to throw the ball a lot that game.
What is a bear front?
Welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition with Only Pac Team Sports Talk Radio. Coming to you live on KDSJ 479 Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, Locomotion, Corey Beck's Custom Painting, and KDK's Chicken. I want to give a thank you to you all for this, as this would not be possible without you all. We let you hear audio from senior quarterback Nick Starkel. I'm telling you, people, this is going to be a very, very tough decision for Coach Chad Morris, that offensive staff, Joe Craddock. As both of these guys have had some pretty good camps. Both these guys have garnered the trust of their offensive line and even the defensive side of the football, and the whole team for that matter. I know yesterday Coach Morris made note that Nick Starkel took all first-team reps. Today he made note Ben Hicks will take all first-team reps. And I think what's going to happen in the scrimmage today, I anticipate, and I'm going to bring in my co-host real quick as we close this thing out. I anticipate the quarterback to be named either tomorrow or Friday, as there'll be a mock game on Saturday in Razorback Stadium, and then preparation starts. So I feel like the media, we should have something to report here in the next 24 to 48 hours on that situation. I know it's the $1 million question throughout the state, who's going to be the starting quarterback, but it's that way every year in the state of Arkansas. I think the quarterback and across the country as well, the quarterback is the most recognizable most talked about position in all of college sports. Everybody wants to know who your quarterback is heading into each and every respective season. That's just how it goes. It's not going to stop. But I think, in my personal opinion, based on what I've seen, Nick Starkel slightly should get the advantage. But, that's just my opinion. A lot will be said and come out of today's final fall scrimmage. I think you can anticipate a lot of different roster changes and lineups and things starting to be more clear following today's scrimmage. But I think that's going to wrap us up today. I want to give a thank you to our guest, David Waters of the Gators Breakdown. He came on and gave us keys as they're going to be taking on the Miami Hurricanes to kick off the 2019 NCAA football season. Also, too, Kevin McGuffey of the Big Blue Nation. He came on and we talked a little Wildcats fall camp update. And lastly, want to give a shout out to our sponsor before we get out of here, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Rogers, an office location also too in Fayetteville. Locomotion, it's located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. Corey Beck's Custom Painting. And lastly, and our newest sponsor, KDK Chicken, the best chicken in the South. And like they say, it's not your mama's. But that's going to do it for myself, for my producer, to you all. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one. Let's get it.